Obviously, the biggest news for this past week is the GPT 4.0 release, as well as the Google I/O, where they showcase their latest AI. And, I think just to point out some really interesting points that came up was around some of the real-time translation, some of the emotions that were behind that, some of the face detection around what they showcased, understanding the code and giving some kind of voice commands by debugging it, as well as visually understanding images around, showing like data visualization charts or graphs and then actually deciphering what that means. For the translation, I actually tested it with my wife, who's Lithuanian. I actually had them real-time translate what I say in English, and then she says something in Lithuanian, because we're actually going to Lithuania this summer. And it's been really tough training or teaching our kids to speak Lithuanian. So her relatives, like her parents and grandparents, don't speak English at all, or very little. So it's really cool to see if that can actually work and have conversations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just the general AI kind of reveals. Always find, we work with the OpenAI models quite a bit, and every release you're just like, wow, really? It can do that? We're sort of so up to speed with what the previous model can do, and yet the jumps are so big. And I think we're seeing that with so many things in the industry, the speed at which it's moving. You think surely they can't have that already, and yep, it is. It almost forces you to continue reevaluate what is possible and what will be possible in not, in 5 years' time, I'm sure we'll be able to do that. It becomes more of a question of, right, it looks like in 6 months' time, we'll be able to do all those things we've been wanting to do for years. It's quite exciting.
I think one of the cooler parts of that demo, apart from the real-time nature of it, which is amazing, is just the inflection that's come in that wasn't there before. So all previous kind of interactions with GPT 3.5 and 4 has always been text-based, or if you're actually like talking into like your phone and getting a response, it's basically, you can tell in the background, it's just converting what you're saying into text, still passing it through to the model, and then you're still getting a text reply back, which is just read out to you. But what was really cool in that demo was the inflection that was happening there. So I think at one point, one of the presenters sort of said, okay, reply in a very sarcastic tone, and the AI would be like, wow, I'm so happy to be doing this. This is great. And that really blew my mind. Understanding human inflection and tone for something, it's like even understand sarcasm and understand like not just the words that are coming out of someone's mouth, but the way that they're saying them and the inflection behind that and what that means, and is able to respond with that understanding. That to me was huge, because if you're having a happy conversation, like the model was replying in like a happy way too, and laughing with you, and like making it like a fun event, which is really blew my mind, because that's translating from just something very intelligent to almost very human. So it's like another level of with the chat, which was incredible. So that really blew me away, and keen to see where that goes.
I was going to actually potentially cancel my GPT subscription because Claude was doing so well. And I was like, it's been slowing down. But some of the things that I heard was interesting were the Turing test, where if you can trick human beings into thinking it's a real human, then that's passed the Turing test. And so supposedly it was tested and it passed it 50% of the time. There was some debate I saw on Twitter or X where they were saying that it didn't really pass it, but then I forgot who was arguing it, but they definitely said it was, well, if it does it part of the time, then it actually did pass it. Just one time is passing it. So that was really interesting. Yeah, with the same article they were talking about where I think the developers of GPT actually, there's some kind of website that where you can test it against other AIs, and it completely blew everybody out of the water. They didn't really say it was GPT 4.0. They just said it was, one of the OpenAI developers testing out a bot. It was leaps ahead of anything else that was close and surpassed everything. So that was really interesting to hear about.
That is. Just the speed as well. I mean, latency, we've always been aware that it's been a problem, especially in business applications. You want quick responses. So just working with it for the past week to see how quickly it can come back with complex answers is another massive jump. What I found with a conversation in just GPT-4 is you'd ask it something, but there would be that delay, which is a little bit like you can feel the processing and you feel that disconnect. I think what connects us as humans is we process things so quickly and you respond immediately. So you expect that. And that's something that lends itself to sort of believing something is more relatable. So if you have a quick response, it feels like you've been heard and someone's answering you versus waiting and thinking, okay, now waiting for it to go up to the cloud, be processed, come back down, makes a big difference.